Hey guys, I know it is a Monday and you don't usually see me on a Monday, but I am making a video today because Felicia's not going to be able to, so she just kind of asked this weekend if anyone would be willing to, and I had a bit of time, so I figured that I would. I also just want to say that I've had a couple of messages sent to the channel, and I will do my best to respond to them within the next couple of days, guys. We're on week 3, and as you know, we've been following the DBT workbook, and week 3, which is this week, we're looking at emotion regulation. It was a long time ago that I engaged with DBT, and I never actually had the workbook myself, although maybe I did, I can't quite remember, but so I don't know whether what I'm going to say in this video is what Marshall Lanningham, who developed it, is kind of getting at, really, and I would direct you towards the workbook rather than just sort of taking my word on what I say here. So yeah, emotion regulation, and today I'm going to be looking at why is being emotionally regulated important. First of all, kind of feel like I need some feedback, like I'm like giving a lecture. I'm like, guys, what do you think emotion regulation is? My thoughts on emotion regulation. I am figuring that emotion regulation is to do with not having ridiculous highs, not having horrible lows, but kind of finding a balance. I hate that word, I do. I hate that kind of middle ground, balanced grey area, and it took me a good number of years to kind of realise that that didn't mean I was boring and didn't have a personality, and it didn't mean that I couldn't experience joy and happiness and then, you know, sadness and all the rest of it. And I do certainly remember being incredibly anxious about being put on medication for those reasons. As much as I detested my lowness, I didn't want my highs taken away from me because they were so much better than feeling like shit. And so what I will say again, and I mentioned in a lot of my videos to do with medication, there's sort of two camps really with regards to borderline personality disorder, which is what DBT was initially intended for. One that says medication doesn't work because this is something that's, you know, to do with your personality, it's to do with how you were abused when you were younger. The other side is, well, actually people who do struggle with impulse control, emotion regulation, dealing with relationship, can actually be helped by medication, whether that's reducing anxiety and impulsivity, helping combat the sort of manic and the low, which is kind of what goes on within borderline personality disorder, helping with the hallucinations, the psychotic side to it. And so there's quite a lot of elements to borderline personality disorder which medication can certainly, and I'm a big believer in that, can certainly help. And so being emotionally regulated through medication, if that's what you need to do. I'm on antipsychotics and antidepressants, anti-anxiety medication, and I can't pronounce the word. Anyway, a type of antidepressant, I can never pronounce that word, and that has certainly helped me emotionally regulate and has helped me not be high as a kite or crash down. And I'm actually in this kind of middle ground. I'm actually on Seroquel, which I know a lot of people find incredibly helpful, especially people with the kind of struggles that I have with regards to self-injury, eating disorder behaviour, depressions and all the rest of it. So why is being emotionally regulated important? I guess that all that I've just discussed kind of gives you reason to that. I think that a huge reason for being emotionally regulated is to help with impulsivity, because ultimately if you can deal with your impulsivity, which can come from being overwhelmed by very, very difficult emotions, and that is going to help you with your behaviours, whatever your behaviours, destructive behaviours, there's millions of them, and people engage in many, many different ways that is self-destructive, some more obvious than others, some that don't stand out as being destructive but actually are. And so dealing with your emotions and finding a balance is certainly incredibly important if you are to deal with behaviours. And And that's why I kind of mentioned some of the medications, so either antipsychotics or mood stabilizers, which can help that. So in terms of, you know, being emotionally regulated, if you are emotionally regulated, you're going to be able to deal with not only your behaviours better, but your whole kind of, all of your day-to-day and everyday interactions with people, with whatever it is, with your work, with your studies. If you're not having to deal with, you know, just swings which are kind of like this all the time, up and down, backwards and forwards, then you're going to actually be able to live, aren't you? You're going to actually be able to get on with your life, rather than just constantly having to deal with, you know, extremes of emotion. And so that's that's why it's important to be emotionally regulated, because you need to be able to live your life. And if you're swinging all over the place, it's going to be pretty much damn near impossible. What I do want to say is that, of course, it's normal to have ups and downs. You know, all of us have ups and downs. I have my ups and downs. Some days I have bad days. Some days I have good days. Some days I'm kind of like hyperactive because I've had like really, really good news that's made me really happy. Other days I'm thinking about somebody I've lost or something that makes me sad. And so it's normal to kind of have that. So when we're talking about emotional regulation, and when I said earlier in the video about me being afraid of medication because I didn't want my highs being taken away from you, I'm not saying that being emotionally regulated means that you don't feel anything. It means that you do feel it. It means you feel the sadness. I'm using kind of a scale. So you've got the happiness here and the sadness here, and you kind of can be back and forth with that, and some days you just sort of sit in the middle, and other days you go up a bit, other days you go back, you know, and that's normal. And so using medication, using DBT practice skills are not going to take away the detachment and manicness. They're just going to help you keep your feet on the ground, so you can actually engage in your life, so you can actually be mindful. And, you know, otherwise, if we're not emotionally regulated, and you can't see my hands, can you? You know, you're going to all like this, and you're just going to swing and swing and swing and bang and bang, and it's like your head is like bash, 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 and you can't actually engage. So being emotionally regulated is kind of going to help that. And I hope that I've given some kind of understanding as to why, you know, trying to not be overwhelmed is kind of important, and even giving you some ideas of how to deal with some of that emotional dysregulation, I guess. And I hope that I've done a good job of that. Alright guys, see you later, bye.